only wore sandals, a really old man with a beard called John Postel, who ran it single-handedly. He was such a nice guy. No one minded that it was centralized because he was so nice. And he ran it for 20 years. And unfortunately, he died in the mid-90s. And when he died, the U.S. government steps back in, and they realize, oh dear, we're sitting on this really powerful thing because now all these people use the internet, and we control the naming system. But the U.S. government, in a very American fashion, decided that the best thing to do is to sort of privatize it. So they form a non-profit governing board, which is known as ICANN, Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. ICANN is this non-profit of semi-dubious status, depending on who you talk to, which then essentially delegates out blocks of domain names, .co.uk, .com, .edu, to sellers who then delegate them to resellers, who then delegate to people maybe like GoDaddy, who you then buy your domain name from. Okay. So you have this one issue where the domain name system is centralized, securing the web is centralized by the certificate authorities, and then of course, on the very lowest level, whenever you send when you send a byte across the internet, the way the byte gets from point A to point B is by something called the TCP/IP, which is the sort of base level internet protocol. And in order to send bytes from point A to point B, you have to have a name. It's like your postal address, but for the internet. And that's a set of, at this point, 4, or depending maybe in the future, 6 numbers, such as 255.014.73.39. That's your IP address. Whenever you get on the internet, your IP address identifies you. Okay? And that's interesting because often when you access the internet, that information can be logged. So not only is the internet, the web is actually, while despite being a wonderful decentralized system, has, again, 3 choke points. The problem with certificates and encryption, the problem with the domain name system, and the problem with IP addresses. So there's sort of 3 ways to fix this if you're an activist. First thing, if you're an activist, you can hide it's not hard, because the internet's a decentralized system, to change your IP address. This is probably the most simple thing to do. Now there's this thing called Tor. I don't know if anyone here has used it, T-O-R. Okay, so Tor is wonderful. It does, I mean, you can do very sophisticated attacks on it if you're really bored, but for the most part, we believe it works. And basically, Tor basically takes your little internet packet of data, and sort of sends it to this network, which has the very mysterious name of a mixed minion network.